welcome to the Geriatric Millennials. This is Jayme.
And this is Beth.
And we are two oldish, but also youngish ladies.
Yeah.
And today we're talking about what we want to read.
Yes.
Not books that we've already read.
Yes. And if anybody knows us, which most of you do by now, we are bookworms, book nerds.
Yeah.
I consider myself a book dragon because I like collecting more than sometimes I like reading. But
Wait, why does that make you a dragon?
because like dragons like hoard gold and stuff. And
I did not know that.
okay.
Well, because speaking of books,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of reading
A
books
dragon book.
about dragons,
Yeah.
and they don't do that.
Well, not
So-
in that book, but they are like
Okay,
the
but-
mythical beasts of
yes.
like guarding like gold and like
Okay,
treasure.
So you're a book dragon.
So I'm a book dragon because I don't always love reading the books, but I just want all the books. So
I know.
it's a nice way to say collector.
I literally have a stack of probably about 7 books on my nightstand table next to my bed
Mm-hmm.
that I haven't read any of them, but I want to. And they're just waiting for me. And they just continually wait.
Oh, I have like 5 books on my nightstand that I all got 50 pages into and stopped reading. And I'm still dying because it's like, I need to go read. I want to finish all of these books. Like I'm tired of it. So anyway, I'm very excited to hear your list though, because like I'm always looking for more books to add to my TBR.
Well, I have a long TBR to be read list, but I don't like to give any recommendations until after I've read the book.
Yeah.
So
I'm not giving recommendations.
You're
I'm
just
just saying
adding
what's
these-
on my list.
Okay, okay.
And what I'm getting excited about.
The way that I get my list is from, sometimes it's from people, but a lot of times it's when I'm trying to find books for my book club. And so then I
Okay.
look at what other book clubs
Oh,
read.
that's smart.
Like the famous people. Like,
Like Reese and
yes,
Oprah and
yes.
some of those other ones. Yeah.
so
Okay. I get a lot of my recommendations from Book Talk. I follow a lot of like book centric
is that
people.
a TikTok related thing?
A TikTok like sub genre of TikTok. So it's just people talking about books. And I like it because there's people that are on all different genres. So I follow one guy and he's really big on like nonfiction. So I get a lot of nonfiction from him. I follow a lot of Black creators. So I get a lot of like really like, I like the diversity, that comes because sometimes not everybody reads diverse books. And so I'm trying to be more mindful of that too.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's easy to just be like, I'm going to read all the mainstream stuff. And like, that's not always diverse. So
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
My first book is a doozy though, and I have to be completely transparent, is that I've already started it. And I'm about halfway through, and it took me, I started listening to it, and I listened to 5 hours in one day.
Holy moly. Okay, what is this book?
It's called The Idea of You by Robin Lee. And this is that I was telling you about this Anne Hathaway movie on Amazon Prime a while back. It's like this, basically this woman in her 40s fall in love with a guy from a boy band.
Okay.
And I saw the movie and I thought it was just kind of cute and fun and just whatever. And I'm like, oh, I should read the book. And the woman that wrote it is a Black author and she was an actress, or she is an actress. And so she wrote this book based off of like a conversation she had with her husband. Like, what if I just fell in love with that guy and left him for you, like a pop star, and a younger pop star. And so she wrote this book and she narrates it and her voice is so sultry and she does such a good job playing all the characters because the lead, the male character is British. And the female lead is American, but she does these accents, but it doesn't feel put on or gross. It is so spicy.
Okay.
And I was at the Target. I had my headphones in and I'm listening to it and it's getting more and more spicy. And now I'm like, I'm around people. There are children running around.
Yeah, and you're like, they
And I
can't.
was
They don't
just
know
like-
what I'm listening to.
and
do
I'm
they?
just like,
they can't
this
hear
is-
this. Can
this is
and by spicy, you mean sexually explicit?
Yeah, so spicy novels are like, I mean, I feel like they're different than like the Fabio romance novels of like Yonder Year with like the cheesy covers and whatever. I think there's a lot more thought put into them. But again, I never read those books.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it doesn't feel raunchy.
Okay.
It's just like this weird mix and you're just listening to the passion and you're like, oh my gosh. But so far so good. I can't recommend it yet because I'm only halfway through. But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
And was this recommended on Book Talk or what?
No, because I watched the movie, I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch the
Okay.
Because I don't always love to do that because sometimes it's too different, or I've already watched the movie. The characters are already in my head. I'm like over it.
Okay.
So anyway,
Well, I think, I don't know. I'm looking at my list now like, I wonder if these are all mainstream or not or what. I
doesn't matter.
definitely know the first one is.
Yes.
And I don't care because I can't wait to read it. It's The Women by Kristen Hanna.
okay.
It is, she's an author that I've read some of her other stuff that has been very good. And so this is one of our book club selections coming up. And it's her newest book. And I've just heard really good reviews about it.
Okay.
by people that have read it.
Is there any inkling of what it's around or by or about?
I don't remember. I don't
Perfect.
remember. It's going to be a complete surprise when I
that's
start
exciting.
it because I forget.
Yeah.
But I just know that at one point I knew and I was like, yes, I'm going to read this book. And I had put it on hold weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks ago. And there was a huge long wait list, but now I'm at the top. And so I'm going to start
Love
it.
that.
I'm going to start it as soon as I finish my other audiobook. So
very cool.
I don't like to have more than one audiobook going on at the same time. I can handle like physical books going on, but I like to stick to one audio.
I like one audio, one physical fiction, and then sometimes I'll throw a nonfiction in there. And if it's nonfiction, I can listen to it audio because it's a different vibe typically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of the same way, just one in each stream. My next want to read is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt.
I have read
Okay.
it.
I'm kind of excited because well, first of all, I have a new affinity for octopi, and it's now on my do not eat list because I realize how smart they are. So I saw a show about octopus, and I was just like, dang it, now I can't eat you in my sushi. So it's a whole
Did
thing.
you? I'm pretty sure this was one of my recommendations in the past on our podcast.
So here's how this came back up, though, is that a dear friend purchased this book for me as a gift. And they were just like, I love this book. I hope you love this book. And I think it was in my I think it was in my list somewhere, but now I have the actual physical copy.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think you're going to like it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I'm excited. The cover, and it's I'm excited for it. So anyway.
Well, it's set on the West Coast. Like it's set in the Pacific
I saw that.
Northwest. And so that's kind of a cool aspect of it too.
Because it's like,
where
it
we
feels
live.
like familiar.
Yeah. I mean, we don't live in where it's set because where it's set is like the coast and we live in a desert.
Yes.
But anyway.
I've been to the coast.
Yeah.
So
you're familiar with it. Like
yes.
it's Seattle and whatnot. So very cool. Okay. So my next one it's a YA book.
Okay.
And it is called The Downstairs Girl.
Ooh. Okay. Do you have any idea of what it's about? Nothing.
Probably should know. Probably at one point I did. What is my problem? Things don't stay in my brain. Maybe once I read it, I'll be able to tell you what it's about. But at some point I thought this sounds really good, and then I put it on this list. So
I have a big affinity for YA because they're easy reads, and a lot of times they're great stories.
Yeah, that some of my favorite books that I read in the last couple of years were YA books, and I just was like, I don't care. It's not like it's exclusively YA.
No.
Like only young adults can read these.
No, but it's kind of nice to just I don't know. Those sometimes they have some really nice worlds that they've created and things.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's
like
good.
one of my favorite books that I read in my book club was The Firekeeper's Daughter. I think I told you about that, and
That's
it's
on
a
my
YA
list.
book. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was
I have it in my house
there's
right
some.
now.
It's kind of there
Intense.
are some triggers, trigger warning
Stuff in there.
There's some heavy stuff in there too, but it's really well written. It's really, really good. So anyway, but I think you're going to like the Remarkably Bright Creatures because it's a great book.
Okay.
So I'm excited it's on your list.
It's a very big read summer for me. Like, people want hot girl summer. No. This is curl up in my chair and read a book summer.
I love that.
Yeah. I know that's not what you're going to be doing because you're out on the
That
water.
is what I want to do.
I know,
want
but
to.
You like to enjoy the sun, Jayme. Just saying.
What I want to do is I want to be on my deck with a cold drink.
We should
reading my book.
We should do a reading date where we just sit on your deck with drinks and read books quietly.
Yes.
That'd be amazing.
Do you think we could do it without talking? I don't know that I could
think
do
we
that.
could.
It depends. But
I think we could. I don't know if there was any more people added to the mix. I think Jamie's mind would go
Probably not.
party.
Probably not.
Okay. My next one is actually nonfiction, and it's called Hood Feminism, Notes from the Women That a Movement Forgot. And it's, I believe, I don't know all of it, but I believe it's about kind of like the feminist movement and how sometime Black women and women of color have get left out of sections of that. And so I'm kind of excited to read it. I'm kind of on this journey decentering men in my life. And I mean, I'm pretty good at it, but I'm not there. I want to continue this path of it doesn't always have to be male centric. And so I just have a lot of books on feminism and the origins and histories just to better educate myself and just have different perspectives and just continue down this path.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. My next one, I don't have any nonfiction in my list. I have a lot of nonfiction sitting next to my bed. I think that's why it's not read yet. But I'm like, that's the wrong time of day to read nonfiction.
No. You can't do that at nighttime.
And
Maybe
so I
a
think
memoir.
it's there because I'm like, I want to read this. I feel like I need to, but then I never do because because it's by my bed. And when I go lay in my bed, the last thing I want to do is have my brain on. I want to like,
I don't want to be educated.
No.
I don't want to learn.
No.
Inspired?
I don't want to
No.
like self-reflect.
No, absolutely not. Not before bedtime.
No. Okay, so the next one is on my list is Funny Story, and it's by Emily Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read some of her books before too, and they're just like easy, fun summer reads.
Okay.
So that's how I would describe her books. And so I think it's probably kind of like a romantic comedy type.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really know what it's about, but again,
They called those like chick lit in the 2000s. Do you remember that? They called them chick lit. Chick lit. It was like Confessions of a Shopaholic. There's a bunch of stuff like that. That was like,
and so she's not. I wouldn't say like her style of books are not ones that are super deep or like I wouldn't describe them as my favorite books or anything, but it's just easy and fun and just light.
You got to have filler too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every book can't be Grapes of Wrath.
That's what I should put next to my bed.
Yeah.
Is that instead of all the nonfiction.
Well, speaking of not surface, so my next one's another nonfiction called The Mindful Path of Self-Compassion.
Why are you so smart?
I'm not smart. I'm trying to get smart. And I'm not I don't have a lot of compassion for myself. And so I'm trying to like be better about when I say taking care of myself, like doing that in a way too that's like kind to myself.
Can you tell me the name of the title again?
The Mindful Path of Self-Compassion by Christopher, I think it's Germer, but I'll put it in our show notes.
Was it a recommendation?
I think I got it from like, I went to a nutritionist that was also like working on like gut health, mind, body.
Yeah.
It's like a workbook. And I don't know, I have a tendency, my interior thoughts, my inside voice is really mean to me. Like I would never be that mean to somebody else, but I'm very like critical and mean to myself. And so I'm trying to it does suck. And it's not something I'm actively like wanting to do, right? It's not like, it feels like it's not a choice. And so I want it to be where, okay,
how do you break that?
How do I break the cycle of it?
How do you like be more conscious of it and actively not
fight against it? Yeah. I was telling a friend about it recently and they were like, oh, just like say, if you say something negative about yourself, say like 3 positive things. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
I don't think it does.
It doesn't work like that. And it's way deeper than that. And I know I'm amazing. You know what I mean? Like I know all those things, but it's like there's an inner voice that is just so cruel at times. So I'm just trying to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of excited. I started it before, but it's like it was
it's
challenging.
Kind of heavy. Yeah.
It's heavy.
Well, self-reflection, especially about that kind of stuff, is heavy. It's hard work. It's work. It's work because you have to really be honest and really evaluate and think through and then recognize like patterns or things that like habits or whatever. And it's not easy to retrain your brain or to really
and
stop
it can
the messaging.
Stir stuff that's like, oh, now I need to work on this because I realized there was like some childhood trauma that I had buried.
Exactly.
So anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive. I hope that
I hope it works out, but we'll see.
Fixes you.
Yeah. Hope it fixes my brain.
I say that kind of like sarcastically, but I was talking to somebody recently who was sharing like, Jayme, if you knew what my inner voice was like before, like you would be shocked. And I was like, really? I had no idea. And they're like, yeah, I would just start imagining these scenarios and what I would say and then what that person would say and then what I would say. So then I should say something else. And then I would just get overwhelmed. And so like social situations were completely overwhelming because I was just, and then I'd go blank and then it was just like super stressful and all this stuff. And I was just like, holy moly, like that sounds torturous, like terrible. And they're just like getting some freedom from that now. And cool. So I'm really, really happy about that, but for them, but yeah, they're just like, you would not believe how my brain was. And I'm just like, wow.
I'm just laughing because my internal voice, so there's this creator named Bretman Rock, and he's like he was a beauty influencer kind of, and then he stepped out of that. He lives in Hawaii, beautiful life. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful guy, like just amazing. And anyway, and he's super funny. He's always like calling people bitch. And so in my head, my inner monologue is like dumb bitch, and it's in his voice. And I'm like, well, that is not. I'm like, that's not helpful in this situation. I'll be doing something, and I'll be like, oh, you dumb bitch. I'm like, that is not helpful.
No.
So anyway, I'm trying to get him out of my head. So
I think,
anyway. Hopefully it will work so that he's not just like,
I don't want you saying those things to yourself.
But when I do sometimes I just step back and it's so funny because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like it's so stupid. Yeah. So anyway, okay, give me another one.
Okay, another one that I have on my list is called The Husbands.
Okay.
And there's multiple books with that title. So this one is by Holly Gramazio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm saying her name right. But this one I remember a little bit. The premise is something about an attic. And every time she goes up in the attic and she comes down, she has a different husband.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And that's all I can remember. But so it sounded fascinating.
And
really
it was interesting.
It was recommended on one of the podcasts that I listen to, my favorite podcast, other than ours,
the Popcast,
of course. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that's going on my to be read list. So, yeah.
Okay, my last one is one that you mentioned, and I've been like floating around reading it, but now I'm like, I'm just going to get into it.
What is it?
The Fourth Wing.
You are?
Yeah. I had thought about it before and I'd seen it on TikTok a bunch and I was like, I should probably read that. And I think I have another set of friends that are reading it too. Like, I just need to get it and read it.
It's a long book.
I got it on audiobook, so.
That's what I did. I listened to it at 1.75 speed.
Uh-huh.
And
it's still long.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It's still long. I enjoyed it. And I'm actually on the second book now.
Yes.
And so I think you're going to want to put that one on hold right away.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of, one book goes right into the next kind of a thing.
Okay, good to know.
There's no real closure.
Good to know.
Yeah, but it's good.
Okay.
Sweet. So the last one I have on my list is a sequel. Speaking of series, so I read the book The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune and loved it. It was just a really sweet read, and the characters were just so unique, and it had some elements of fantasy, but it was, I don't know, it was just such a cool, sweet book that I really liked. And the main character was actually male. And I find that the majority of my books that I've been reading have been female.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't read a ton with like a male lead for whatever reason. And so this one was really good, but the second book is coming out. It's not coming out until the fall.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm looking forward to that. And it's definitely on my list for when it comes out. And it's called Somewhere Beyond the Sea.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, those are 5 of my TBR.
I love that. I think it's cool we had no crossover. Which I mean, is not surprising because there's a billion books out there.
Yeah.
But it is like, oh, okay, there's lots to pick from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good. I can't wait to hear about the ones that you're going to read that I've actually read, and those nonfiction ones. I want to know.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Good. Happy reading.
Yes. Hey, if you're enjoying this podcast and would like to support our show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at the Geriatric Millennials, or leave us a positive review and rating, all which help us to grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost, so check out their latest album now. Thank you so much.